The ocean stretched endlessly, a vast, shimmering blue under the sun. Waves danced across the surface, hiding secrets that had slept for centuries. Captain Elara Dane stood on the deck of the research vessel Aegis, her eyes scanning the horizon. For months, she and her crew had traveled the world's oceans, following old charts, sonar readings, and whispers of lost ships. But today, their instruments had picked up something extraordinary. "Captain," said Malik, the ship's chief engineer, his voice full of excitement. "The readings are unusual. It's not just metal. There's structure down there, shapes, layouts. It's almost like a fleet." Elara's heart raced. She had read stories of sunken ships, of treasure fleets swallowed by storms. But this felt different. She could see her crew gathering around the observation deck, their faces a mix of curiosity and awe. "Prepare the submersibles," she ordered. "We're going down." Within an hour, the Aegis deployed 2 small advanced submersibles designed to handle extreme pressures. Elara climbed into the lead submersible, her fingers brushing over the smooth control panel. The cabin was tight, but the glass canopy offered a panoramic view of the ocean around her. "Descending," she said into the microphone. The hum of the engines filled the cabin as the submersible sank below the sunlit waves. Outside, the world darkened, colors fading into deep blues and blacks. And then, the shapes appeared. Wooden masts, sails frozen in time, hulls lined with intricate carvings, all standing upright on the ocean floor as if time itself had stopped. The fleet seemed to stretch endlessly. A silent monument to sailors long gone. Elara's breath caught in her throat. "By the stars," whispered Talia, the historian aboard the Aegis. "It's perfect. It's as if they were waiting for us." The submersible hovered over the largest ship, a flagship that towered like a palace of the sea. Coral and seaweed wrapped around the bow, and tiny fish darted through the rigging. Yet despite centuries underwater, the ship was remarkably intact. On its deck, something strange glowed faintly, a soft blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. "Focus on that artifact," Elara said, pointing to the glow. "Bring the manipulator arm close. Let's see what it is." The submersible's mechanical arm reached out, careful not to disturb the centuries-old deck. When it touched the glowing object, the light brightened, and the water around it shimmered strangely. Holographic images appeared in the submersible's cabin. Charts, maps, and illustrations of ships, islands, and oceans filled the space around the crew. They showed journeys across the world, detailing routes no modern maps had recorded. The projections moved, showing wind patterns, ocean currents, and symbols that suggested an understanding of the seas far beyond what had been known. "Look at this," Talia said, pointing to the symbols. "These sailors understood something about the oceans we don't. Energy patterns, maybe. Currents that could guide ships automatically. They were brilliant." Elara studied the artifact carefully. It was made of a material she had never seen before, smooth, strong, almost alive. It seemed to respond to touch, and the more she observed, the more she felt as if the ship itself was speaking to them. "Captain," Malik said, "this could be bigger than anything we imagined. Not just treasure, but knowledge. If we can understand this, it could change how we explore the oceans forever." Elara nodded. She felt a surge of pride and responsibility. This was what she had trained for, to discover, to explore, and to protect. But as they continued to study the fleet, they noticed something unusual. The surrounding water was warmer than expected. Strange currents moved around the ships, almost like a protective barrier. Sensors picked up low-frequency vibrations, patterns that seemed intentional. The fleet was not just lying there, it was alive in its own way, responding to their presence. "Keep your distance," Elara said firmly. "We don't know what this is capable of." Hours passed as they mapped the area, photographing every ship and examining the glowing artifact. The fleet seemed endless, stretching far beyond the reach of their instruments. It was not a random scattering of wrecks, but a carefully arranged formation, almost ceremonial, as if the sailors had wanted their work to be remembered forever. As night fell on the Aegis, the crew gathered in the observation room, looking at the live feed from the submersibles. The glowing artifact on the flagship's deck pulsed softly, casting shimmering patterns across the cabin walls. "It's like it's alive," said Talia, "like it's waiting for someone to find it." Ilara leaned back in her chair, thinking. Maybe it's not waiting for just anyone. Maybe it's waiting for us. The next morning, the crew prepared to dive again. This time, they brought additional equipment to analyze the fleet and recover small artifacts. As the submersibles descended, a storm began to gather on the surface. The waves grew restless, but underwater, the fleet remained calm, bathed in an otherworldly light. They reached the flagship again, and this time, Ilara was determined to take a closer look at the glowing object. As her submersible approached, the light intensified and more holographic projections appeared, this time showing not just maps but events. They saw sailors navigating treacherous waters, guiding fleets through storms, and discovering islands that no modern maps recorded. The projections also showed rituals, ceremonies, and tools, suggesting that these sailors held a deep respect for the oceans. They did not just conquer the seas, they studied them, worked with them, and understood their power. "This knowledge," Talia said softly, "it's more than science, it's wisdom." Suddenly, a shadow moved across the deck. The submersible cameras captured it, a large figure gliding past, almost like a guardian of the ship. It vanished as quickly as it appeared. "Did you see that?" Malik whispered. Ilara's eyes narrowed. "Yes, something is watching us, but it's not hostile, at least not yet." They continued their work carefully, recovering small, non-intrusive artifacts for study. Each item, from compasses to small mechanical devices, showed an advanced understanding of physics and navigation, far beyond what was expected for the age of sail. As they ascended back to the surface, the crew was silent, each lost in thought. They had discovered more than a fleet of old ships. They had found a link to humanity's past that might guide the future. On the deck of the Aegis, Ilara looked out over the ocean, the rising sun painting gold and crimson streaks across the waves. The fleet below shimmered faintly, hidden beneath the waves, waiting for the next chapter to unfold. "We're just at the beginning," she said. "This fleet has secrets, and we are going to uncover them, piece by piece." Talia smiled, her eyes shining with excitement. "It's like the ocean itself has left us a message. We just need to listen." Ilara nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility and the thrill of discovery at the same time. The journey had only just begun. Below, the glowing artifact pulsed once more, sending a soft ripple through the water. The ocean had kept its secrets for centuries, but now it had chosen its explorers. And humanity was about to learn that the past held lessons that could change the future forever. The ocean was calm that morning, but beneath the surface, mysteries awaited. Captain Ilara Dane stood on the deck of the Aegis, the sea breeze brushing her face. The fleet of sunken ships lay hundreds of meters below, still glowing faintly in the submersible cameras. The artifact on the flagship had become their most precious discovery. It was not treasure in the usual sense. It was knowledge, a key to understanding the ocean and the humans who once sailed it. "Captain, we should prepare for a full scan," Malik said, holding a tablet that displayed sensor readings. "I've calibrated the instruments to detect energy signatures and structural anomalies. If this fleet is more than wreckage, we'll find it." Ilara nodded. "Good. Talia, prepare the historical scans. We need to compare what we find with old records. The answers may be hidden in plain sight. Hours later, the crew descended again in the submersibles. The waters darkened as they went deeper, but the glow from the flagship illuminated the fleet like a lighthouse in the abyss. The artifact pulsed softly, as if acknowledging their return. "Approaching the main ship," Alara said. "Keep a steady hand. We don't know how delicate this relic is." As the submersible hovered over the deck, the artifact's glow intensified. Tiny holographic symbols appeared in the cabin, forming complex patterns and sequences. Talia's eyes widened. "These symbols, they're instructions," she said. "They're teaching us something. It's like the sailors left lessons encoded in the artifact itself." Malik reached out and activated the submersible's analysis tools. Data streamed onto the display. Projections of wind currents, ocean currents, and hidden channels in the seabed. There were notes on tides, weather patterns, and even migration routes of sea creatures. The knowledge was vast, far beyond what modern science had compiled. "They knew the ocean," Malik said, "in ways we can barely imagine. It's not just navigation. They understood the balance of the seas, the energy of the water, even the life within it." Ilara leaned closer. "Then they were more than sailors. They were scientists, engineers, and guardians of the ocean. They must have left these lessons intentionally, for someone like us to find." As they studied, a new projection appeared, a three-dimensional map of the world's oceans, marked with points that seemed to glow like the artifact itself. "Look at this," Talia said. "It's a network. These points are monuments like the flagship. They're scattered across the planet, and each one connects to the others." Ilara's mind raced. "A global network of oceanic relics? If these artifacts are still active, they could reveal knowledge lost for centuries. This could change everything we know about energy, navigation, and even environmental management." Suddenly, a ripple of movement passed through the water. The submersible cameras captured shadows gliding around the ships. Ilara's grip tightened. "Stay calm," she instructed. "It could be large marine life or something else. Just observe. Don't provoke." Hours passed as they carefully explored the fleet. Each ship held pieces of the puzzle. Compasses that seemed to calibrate themselves, instruments that measured not just depth, but energy flow, and journals etched in copper plates with symbols they were only beginning to decipher. Then the artifact pulsed more brightly than ever. Holographic projections filled the cabin, showing not only maps, but moving images of the sailors themselves. They were not ordinary seafarers. They appeared to communicate with strange devices, guiding ships with precision and respect for the ocean. "They weren't just traveling," Talia whispered. "They were studying, protecting, and understanding. They left lessons for the future. Maybe they knew the oceans could be in danger one day." Ilara felt a shiver of awe. Humanity had always looked at the seas as a place to explore, to conquer, or to exploit. But these sailors had treated the ocean as a living entity, worthy of respect and understanding. "Prepare to bring the artifact aboard," Ilara said. "We need to study it further, but carefully. Nothing must be damaged." As they retrieved the glowing relic, the ocean around them seemed to respond. Currents shifted subtly, as if guiding the submersibles back to the Aegis. The crew exchanged glances, a silent acknowledgement of the strange connection they were forming with this ancient fleet. Back on the ship, the artifact was placed in the lab. Malik carefully connected it to the research systems. As the holographic projections expanded, the crew realized that the artifact could interact with their modern technology, creating simulations of ancient voyages and oceanic patterns. "This is incredible," Malik said. "It's like the past and the present are merging. We can study the ancient techniques and apply them today." Ilara studied the projections. "If we can unlock the full potential of these relics, we could revolutionize ocean exploration. But we must be careful. Knowledge like this can be dangerous in the wrong hands. The warning proved true almost immediately. A signal appeared on the Aegis communications system. It was encrypted, but the message was clear. Another organization had detected the artifact's energy signature. They were coming, and they intended to claim the relics for themselves. Ilara's expression hardened. They won't understand what this is. They'll see only value, power, or profit. We have to protect it. The crew began preparing defenses, both digital and physical. The Aegis was equipped with advanced technology, but nothing compared to the challenge of protecting a relic of immense knowledge. Over the next few days, the team continued their work. They discovered that the artifact responded to thought and intention. It seemed to recognize respect for the ocean and understanding of the past. When approached with greed or recklessness, it dimmed or became unresponsive. "This is more than technology," Talia said. "It's a test. It wants to see if we are worthy of what it holds." Ilara nodded. "Then we must show it. We're here to learn, not to take. We must honor its purpose." As the artifact projected more holograms, they revealed ancient voyages across the oceans, showing how the sailors had built monuments and markers to guide future generations. These monuments were scattered across the seas, each containing knowledge designed to preserve life and maintain balance in the oceans. One projection revealed a distant location, far beyond any map they had. A trench deeper than the Mariana, marked by an enormous structure, possibly another monument. The artifact seemed to point the way, pulsing with energy, urging them to follow. "This," Ilara said, eyes fixed on the projection, "is where we go next. Whatever lies there, it may hold the key to understanding the fleet and the knowledge of these sailors." The crew prepared for a new mission, equipping submersibles for extreme depth and pressure. Supplies were checked, instruments calibrated, and plans drawn. The excitement was palpable, but so was the tension. The ocean was full of unknown dangers, and now they had rivals who would stop at nothing to claim the relics. That night, as the Aegis sailed toward the trench, the artifact glowed softly in the lab. The crew gathered around it, feeling a sense of connection to the sailors who had come centuries before. "They trusted someone," Talia said. "And maybe, just maybe, they trusted us." Ilara placed a hand on the artifact. "Then we won't let them down. We'll uncover the secrets of the oceans, and we'll do it responsibly, for the past and for the future." Below, the water shimmered as if acknowledging her promise. The fleet lay silent, yet alive, holding its knowledge in patient anticipation. The journey into the depths was just beginning, and the ocean had many lessons left to teach. And somewhere, far beneath the waves, the next monument waited, its energy pulsing, calling the brave, the curious, and the wise to uncover its secrets. Ilara and her crew would answer that call, stepping into the unknown, ready to prove humanity's courage, ingenuity, and respect for the seas. The Aegis cut through the morning waves, its hull gleaming in the rising sun. Captain Ilara Dane stood at the bow, her gaze fixed on the horizon. Somewhere far ahead, hidden beneath layers of ocean, lay the next monument, the giant structure the artifact had revealed. It promised answers, but also danger. "Captain," Malik called from the control room, "the submersibles are ready, deep-sea drills and sensors checked. We can descend to any depth, but conditions will be extreme. Currents are stronger, water pressure higher. This trench is unlike anything we've seen before." Ilara nodded. "Understood. Talia, make sure all historical scans are prepped. Anything we find must be recorded immediately. We can't afford to lose a single clue." Talia adjusted her instruments, excitement mixed with apprehension in her eyes. "It's incredible, Captain. We're about to see something no human has witnessed for centuries." As the first submersible descended, sunlight faded quickly, replaced by the deep blue that turned to black in the distance. The water around them was colder, thicker, and heavier. Strange currents tugged at the small vessels, making navigation difficult. "Keep a steady course," Ilara instructed through the comms. "Don't rush. Observe everything." The team moved slowly, scanning for signs of the monument. On the sonar, the ocean floor began to drop sharply, cliffs of rock and sand forming sheer walls. Fish adapted to the darkness swam past, their glowing bodies leaving streaks of light behind. "It's breathtaking," whispered Talia. "The ocean itself is alive down here." Suddenly, the submersibles picked up large shadows moving near the trench walls. Massive creatures, unknown and magnificent, glided past, observing the intruders as if curious. Their movements were graceful yet commanding, reminding the crew that they were visitors in a world not fully theirs. Ilara's voice was steady but full of awe. "Keep your distance, no sudden movements. We are here to learn, not to interfere." Hours passed as the vessels maneuvered deeper. The pressure increased, and the outside lights barely illuminated the ocean around them. Then, from the darkness, a massive structure emerged. It was enormous, an underwater monument unlike anything they had imagined. Shaped like a ship, it towered above the submersibles, its surface covered in carvings and symbols that glowed faintly. Coral and plant life had adapted to its presence, flowing in the currents around it like dancers in slow motion. "By the stars," Malik whispered. "It's real. It exists." Ilara felt a mixture of awe and responsibility. "We need to approach carefully, document everything. This is more than a discovery. It's a bridge to the past." As they hovered near the monument, the artifact on the submersible began to pulse in harmony with the glow from the structure. Holographic projections appeared, showing the monument in its prime, with sailors moving along its decks and strange devices operating in harmony with the ocean. "They were guardians," Talia said softly. "This monument wasn't just a marker. It was active. It helped maintain balance in the ocean, guided ships safely, and perhaps even protected life within these waters." Ilara studied the projections. "Then the artifact is part of a network, and these monuments are nodes. The sailors left this knowledge intentionally for us to find." As they explored, the currents shifted suddenly, strong enough to push the submersibles. A section of the monument opened slowly, revealing an inner chamber. Strange mechanisms hummed with energy, lights tracing paths along the walls. "This is incredible," Malik said, awe in his voice. "They built technology that works with the ocean itself. It's sustainable, elegant, and precise. And we're the first to see it in centuries." But as they prepared to enter the chamber, sensors detected movement outside. Another submersible, sleek and black, appeared, clearly not part of the Aegis crew. Rival explorers had arrived, drawn by the energy signals of the artifact. Ilara's hands tightened on the controls. "Stay calm. Do not engage. Let's observe their actions first." The rival team attempted to scan the monument, but unlike the Aegis crew, they showed no patience, no respect. Their machines triggered small energy surges, which caused the monument to respond defensively. Currents intensified, and small mechanical devices inside the monument activated. "They don't understand," Talia said. "The monument is reacting to their intent. It's testing them, just like it tested us." Ilara nodded. "We need to act carefully. If we force anything, it could damage the monument, and we can't risk the knowledge inside." Using expert maneuvering, the Aegis submersibles positioned themselves to guide the rivals away from sensitive areas. The monument pulsed, as if recognizing the intentions of Ilara's crew versus the intruders. Small energy fields formed around the artifact and the submersibles, subtly blocking interference. "This is more than technology," Malik said. "It's selective, almost intelligent. It responds to respect and purpose." Inside the chamber, the crew discovered a control room of sorts. Symbols covered the walls, devices hummed with energy, and an enormous central console displayed patterns of ocean currents and energy flows. The artifact integrated perfectly with the systems, activating a sequence that revealed the monument's functions, guiding currents, maintaining ecosystem balance, and monitoring the ocean for changes. "This is brilliant," Talia said. "The sailors of the past created a system that preserves life and knowledge. It's not just technology, it's wisdom." Ilara studied the holographic displays. "And now it's up to us to understand it. We must learn how it works and how to use it responsibly. This knowledge could help humanity repair the oceans, predict storms, and even generate clean energy." As they explored, the currents shifted again, and the rival submersibles tried to approach. But the monument's mechanisms blocked them, creating barriers and energy pulses. The rivals struggled to understand and eventually retreated, frustrated and confused. Ilara breathed a sigh of relief. "The monument protects itself, but it also teaches. We have to earn its trust." Hours passed as the crew continued their studies. They traced energy patterns across the monument, learning how it had guided ships in the past and how it could guide them now. Talia recorded every detail, her excitement matched by careful observation. Malik experimented with the artifact, integrating it with their systems. It began to project larger maps, showing other monuments across the globe. A network of knowledge, carefully preserved beneath the waves, waiting for humanity to prove itself worthy. "This is just the beginning," Ilara said. "If we succeed here, we can uncover the full network and bring back knowledge that has been lost for centuries. But we must remain vigilant. Others will come. And the ocean itself will challenge us." As the submersibles prepared to return to the Aegis, the monument pulsed one last time, sending a wave of energy through the water. It was a greeting, a warning, and an invitation all at once. "We've been acknowledged," Talia said, her voice full of wonder. "It knows we are here, and it knows our intent." Ilara looked at her crew, pride swelling in her chest. "Then let's prove ourselves worthy. The ocean has chosen us as its students. We will learn, we will protect, and we will honor the sailors of the past." Above, the sun set, painting the surface with gold and crimson. Below, the monument stood silently, glowing in the darkness, a testament to human ingenuity and the power of respect for nature. The journey into the unknown was far from over, and the ocean had many lessons yet to teach. Ilara watched the artifact pulse softly on the submersible console. It was more than a tool. It was a key, a guide, and a challenge, and she was ready to meet it head-on. Somewhere far across the oceans, other monuments awaited, each with its own mysteries, each holding knowledge that could transform the world. But first, they had to understand the monument before them and the secrets it had preserved for centuries. The voyage into the unknown had begun, and humanity's courage, ingenuity, and respect for the seas would be tested like never before. The inner chamber of the monument glowed with a soft, steady light. Captain Ilara Dane and her crew hovered in their submersibles, staring at the intricate mechanisms surrounding them. Symbols etched into the walls pulsed rhythmically, and holographic projections floated above the central console. "This is unlike anything I've ever seen," Malik said, awestruck. "It's like a control center, but alive. Every part responds to us." Talia stepped closer to the projections. "Look at this. The patterns are instructions and warnings. The monument is alive in its own way. It was designed to guide, but also to test those who approach it." Ilara nodded. "Then we must show it we are worthy. Remember, our goal is not to take, but to learn and respect. Let's proceed carefully." The crew activated the artifact, allowing it to interface with the monument's systems. Immediately, a soft hum filled the chamber. Symbols shifted into a sequence, and a holographic figure appeared. It resembled a human, yet shimmering with energy, as if made of light and water. "I am the Guardian." The figure spoke in a calm, melodic voice that echoed through the chamber. "I am entrusted to preserve the knowledge of the seas and the legacy of those who first built these monuments. Only those who demonstrate respect, wisdom, and courage may access this knowledge." Ilara's eyes widened. A guardian, an AI built by the sailors of the past. She turned to her team. "This is a test. We must show that we understand the ocean, the past, and our responsibility to the future." The Guardian projected a series of challenges. First, a simulation of a storm-tossed ocean, where a fleet of ships struggled to navigate treacherous waters. The crew had to work together to guide the ships safely, adjusting currents and wind patterns using the monument's systems. "Use the currents," Malik instructed, "but remember, the ships cannot be forced. We must work with the ocean, not against it." Talia studied the simulation carefully. "Balance is key. Every adjustment affects the others. One wrong move could cause disaster." Ilara coordinated the efforts, issuing calm and clear instructions. Slowly, the ships navigated the storm, each challenge more difficult than the last. The Guardian observed silently, its light pulsing steadily. When the storm simulation ended, a new challenge appeared: ethical decisions. Holographic scenarios showed fishermen, coastal villages, and marine life at risk. The crew had to choose solutions that preserved both human life and the ecosystem. "This isn't just about knowledge," Talia said. "It's about understanding consequences, respecting life, and acting wisely." Ilara nodded. "We have to think carefully and act responsibly. Every choice matters." They completed the scenarios, each decision demonstrating their respect for the ocean and its creatures. The Guardian's light grew brighter, signaling approval. "You have shown wisdom," the Guardian said, "but understanding requires courage. You must face the unknown, the dangers of the deep, and the challenge of your own limitations." A section of the monument opened, revealing a new chamber. The crew entered, finding a complex network of machinery, holographic maps, and devices that seemed almost magical. Energy flowed through conduits, moving like liquid light, reacting to their presence. "This is incredible," Malik said. "It's a fully functional system, centuries old and still operational. It controls currents, monitors marine life, and look at this: energy distribution patterns for the entire ocean." Ilara studied the maps. "The sailors of the past created a system to guide the ocean itself, to preserve life and knowledge. This is more than technology. It's wisdom built into the sea." Suddenly, alarms blared. The rival explorers had tracked them down again. Their submersibles approached, attempting to interface with the monument. But the Guardian responded immediately. Currents shifted, creating barriers and obstacles to prevent intrusion. Energy pulses pushed back against unauthorized devices. "They don't understand," Talia said. "The monument is defending itself. It only allows those with respect and purpose to access it." Ilara took a deep breath. "We must remain calm. Let the Guardian see our intentions. If we panic or act aggressively, it could shut us out completely." The rival explorers struggled against the defenses. Their impatience and greed triggered stronger responses from the monument, forcing them to retreat. The Aegis crew watched carefully, aware that the ocean itself was an ally when treated with respect. Inside the chamber, the Guardian projected new knowledge. Diagrams of ancient vessels, sustainable energy systems, and oceanic navigation tools filled the air. The crew realized that the sailors had discovered ways to harness energy from tides and currents, to monitor ocean health, and to navigate without harming marine life. "This could change everything," Malik said. "Clean energy, safe navigation, ocean conservation, centuries ahead of us." Talia added, "It also shows that humans have always had the potential to live in harmony with nature. We just need to remember how." Ilara studied the holographic projections. "Then it's our duty to use this knowledge wisely. We cannot let it fall into hands that would exploit it for profit or power. The sailors built these monuments to guide, not to dominate." The Guardian pulsed brightly. "You have proven understanding, wisdom, and courage. You may access the knowledge preserved within this monument. But know this: every choice you make will affect the ocean and all who depend on it. Responsibility is paramount." Ilara nodded. "We understand, and we accept." For hours, the crew studied the systems. They learned how to adjust currents to aid navigation, how to monitor marine ecosystems, and how to generate energy from natural flows without causing harm. Every device and symbol revealed new insights into the intelligence and care of the sailors who built the monuments. "This is the legacy of the Age of Sail," Talia said, smiling. "Not just exploration, but stewardship, respect, and wisdom passed down to us." Malik experimented with the artifact and the monument systems, carefully integrating them with the Aegis's technology. Holographic projections expanded, showing connections to other monuments across the oceans. Each one was part of a global network, preserving knowledge and protecting the seas. Ilara realized that their discovery was only the beginning. If we succeed here, we can unlock the entire network. The knowledge preserved in these monuments could guide humanity to a better future. The Guardian's voice echoed one final time. "Your courage, respect, and understanding have been recognized. Continue with humility, and you will learn what has been preserved for the ages." Exiting the chamber, the crew felt a sense of awe and accomplishment. They had passed the Guardian's tests, proven their intentions, and begun to access knowledge that had been lost for centuries. Above them, the ocean currents shifted, as if acknowledging their success. The artifact pulsed softly, harmonizing with the monument's glow. It was more than a discovery. It was a partnership, a bond between humanity and the wisdom of the past. Ilara looked at her crew. "We've earned this. But our responsibility is only beginning. Knowledge without wisdom is dangerous. We must use it to help, not to harm." Talia nodded. "And we must protect it from those who would misuse it. The Guardian has shown us what it values most: respect, courage, and responsibility." Malik added, "It's incredible to think that sailors from centuries ago could design something so advanced, so alive, and so aware. We're standing on the shoulders of giants." Ilara smiled, her gaze steady. "Then let's honor their legacy. We have work to do, and the ocean has many lessons yet to teach. This monument is just the beginning. Others wait, and we must be ready to meet them with the same respect and wisdom." Outside, the monument pulsed gently, a beacon in the dark, deep waters. It stood as a guardian of knowledge, a reminder of the courage and intelligence of those who had come before. And now it had chosen its students, the humans who would carry forward its lessons, bridging past and future. The Aegis crew prepared to leave the monument, knowing that more challenges awaited. The rival explorers would not give up, and the oceans themselves would test them in ways they could not yet imagine. But they were ready. They had proven themselves worthy once, and the journey into the depths of history, science, and human potential was only beginning. Ilara placed her hand on the artifact. "The past has guided us here. The future depends on what we do next. Let's make it count." As the crew ascended to the surface, the monument remained below, glowing softly, a silent guardian of the oceans and of humanity's potential. And far beyond, other monuments waited, each holding its own secrets, ready to test those brave enough to explore them. The guardians of the past had recognized humanity's courage, ingenuity, and respect. Now, it was up to them to prove that humanity could live up to the legacy entrusted to them. The Aegis cut through calm waters under a rising sun, carrying the crew back from the depths of the ocean. Captain Alara Dane stood at the bow, her gaze fixed on the horizon, her thoughts filled with the discoveries they had made. The glowing artifact rested safely in the lab, connected to systems that could preserve and study its knowledge without damaging it. "We did it," Malik said quietly beside her, though his voice carried pride and exhaustion. "The monument, the artifact, it's all real, and we've learned more than anyone could have imagined." Alara nodded. "Yes, but learning is only part of it. We have to apply this knowledge responsibly. What we do with it could change humanity's future." Talia joined them, holding a tablet filled with holographic projections and records. "Captain, the Guardian systems have shared so much already. Navigation routes, sustainable energy methods, ocean preservation techniques, centuries ahead of us. And there's more to discover in other monuments around the world." Alara turned to the two of them, determination in her eyes. "Then our mission isn't over. We have the responsibility to integrate this knowledge into our world, to protect it, and to inspire others to respect the oceans as the sailors of the past did." Below them, the artifact pulsed faintly, a soft rhythm echoing like a heartbeat. It had chosen them, and now it would guide them in sharing the lessons it preserved. The first challenge came almost immediately. Messages from global exploration authorities warned that rival corporations were moving toward the artifact's energy signature. They sought to claim it for profit, not knowledge. Alara turned toward the communications officer. "Prepare a secure signal. We cannot allow them to interfere. The knowledge belongs to humanity, not greed." Malik tapped the controls. "I can shield the artifact's signal and encrypt the data. They won't be able to trace us directly." Talia added, "And we can release only what is necessary to educate, not exploit. We must be careful. The Guardian would approve." The days that followed were tense. The crew worked tirelessly, integrating the artifact's knowledge with modern systems, creating holographic simulations to test sustainable oceanic energy, navigation, and ecosystem management. Every decision was deliberate, every step cautious. Alara watched as the simulations unfolded. She could see humanity's potential reflected in the patterns: cleaner oceans, safer navigation, and a deeper understanding of the world's waters. The legacy of the Age of Sail was being reborn in the modern age. One evening, as the sun set and painted the sky in gold and crimson, the Aegis crew gathered on deck. "The sailors of the past didn't just build monuments," Alara said, her voice quiet but firm. "They left a message: respect the ocean, use knowledge wisely, and act with courage and cooperation. We have the chance to bring that message to humanity." Talia smiled. "We've seen how the Guardian tests intention. The lesson is clear. It's not enough to discover knowledge. We must live by it." Malik nodded. "And we will. We've proven ourselves worthy, and now we carry that responsibility." The artifact pulsed one last time before they reached the surface. Its glow reflected the dawn, symbolizing hope and new beginnings. Alara felt the weight of their mission, but also the thrill of possibility. Humanity had been given a gift from the past, and it was up to them to honor it. Upon returning to port, the crew was met with curiosity and awe. Scientists, historians, and explorers gathered to see what the Aegis had brought back. Holographic displays projected images of the sunken fleet, the monuments, and the artifact's intricate systems. "This is a breakthrough unlike any other," said one historian. "Not only are these ships preserved as monuments, but they contain knowledge that could transform our understanding of the oceans and our place in the world." Alara stepped forward. "These discoveries are not ours to own," she said firmly. "They belong to humanity. We have a responsibility to use them wisely, to learn from the past, and to protect the future." Malik demonstrated the energy systems, showing how ocean currents could generate clean power. Talia presented simulations of navigation techniques that preserved ecosystems and supported sustainable fishing practices. The room buzzed with excitement and wonder. But not everyone was pleased. Representatives from rival corporations demanded access, claiming ownership of the artifact. Ilara met them calmly. "The artifact is not a tool for profit," she said. "It is a teacher. It chooses those who respect the ocean. Those who act with responsibility. Greed and force cannot unlock its knowledge. The Guardian has already judged your intentions." Some tried to argue, but the artifact's influence was clear. The Guardian's energy pulsed subtly, visible through the artifact's light, and the room fell silent. It was a reminder that knowledge required respect, and that the oceans had guardians watching over them. As days turned into weeks, the crew worked to share their findings responsibly. They trained scientists, explorers, and ocean engineers to use the monument's knowledge ethically. Schools received holographic lessons, and research centers implemented sustainable energy programs inspired by the ancient designs. Ilara watched as humanity began to apply the wisdom of the past. Ships navigated more safely, oceanic life thrived, and new energy solutions reduced reliance on harmful sources. The oceans were no longer simply a resource to exploit. They became a partner, a teacher, and a source of wonder. One evening, Ilara returned to the deck of the Aegis. The sun was low, casting a golden path across the water. She thought of the sailors of the Age of Sail, of their courage and wisdom. They had faced storms, unknown seas, and the limits of human knowledge, and yet they had preserved lessons for the future. "They trusted someone," she murmured to herself, "and they chose us." Talia joined her, looking out at the horizon. "Do you think there are more monuments, more secrets waiting?" Ilara nodded. "I know there are. This was only the beginning. The oceans are vast, and the sailors of the past left much more than we've found so far. We'll continue to explore, to learn, and to protect." Malik joined them, smiling. "And humanity will benefit. We've proven that we can use knowledge responsibly. The oceans have taught us, and now we must teach others." As night fell, the waters shimmered with moonlight. Somewhere beneath the surface, the monuments waited, silent but alive, ready for the next explorers who approached with courage, curiosity, and respect. Ilara felt hope fill her heart. Humanity had been given a chance to honor the past and build a better future. The artifact pulsed softly like a heartbeat, and she understood that the ocean's lessons were ongoing. They would guide humanity not just for a moment, but for generations to come. The world was changing. And standing on the deck of the Aegis, Ilara knew that the legacy of the Age of Sail had been reborn. Ships once lost to time had become teachers. Knowledge once buried beneath centuries of waves was now guiding humanity. And the ocean, vast and eternal, continued to whisper its lessons to those who would listen. Ilara turned to her crew. "We have done well, but the work continues. The ocean is alive, the monuments are waiting, and humanity has much to learn. We are the guardians now, the messengers of the past. Let's make sure the lessons we've been given are never forgotten." The crew nodded, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the artifact. They had faced the depths, earned the trust of the guardians, and learned the secrets of the oceans. And now, they were ready to share it with the world, wisely, responsibly, and with courage. The horizon stretched endlessly, a promise of new discoveries, new challenges, and new lessons. Humanity had stood on the shoulders of those who had sailed before, and now it would rise to meet the future, guided by wisdom, respect, and hope. The oceans held their secrets no longer, but humanity had learned to listen. And in that listening, a new era had begun. An era where courage, knowledge, and respect for the seas would guide the world forward. The monument below pulsed one final time in the fading light, a silent acknowledgement of the humans who had proven worthy. The artifact glowed steadily, promising that the lessons of the past would continue to guide the future. And Captain Alara Dane, standing at the bow of the Aegis, knew with certainty that humanity had taken its first step toward a brighter, wiser age. The age of sail had left its mark, and now humanity would carry its legacy into the stars, into the oceans, and into the hearts of generations to come.